In this video, I really want to talk to you about how to set up a bait caster. So this may be a little bit more catered towards the beginner bait cast fisherman, but even if you've been around a bait caster for a long time, I think you will still get a little bit out of this. So before we talk about setting up your bait caster for success, I do want you guys to know a little bit of a special announcement. I've been working on a product over at Fin Fishing for a long time now, and I finally have it out. This is the all new Fin Fishing duck hat. And the reason it's called duck hat, it's waterproof, it's super lightweight, and it's extremely durable. It's also very comfortable. Some hats out there on the market, I know for me, are almost a little bit too rigid. And when you get them, they really hurt your forehead for a long time before you kind of break them in. This thing is very durable and it doesn't hurt like that one does. I've been wearing this particular one here for over 6 months, really put it through a lot. And as a fisherman, we put hats through a lot. We truly do. I mean, I know I've lost a number of hats that fly off in the boat, but we also just put them, I mean, we get fish guts and slime all over them, fish blood on them. They go through rain, they go through a ton of sun. We put a lot on our hats. And these are a great durable hat. They are a premium hat. So anyways, because it is a new product, I typically do some sort of introductory sale with new products, and that's no different here. So I'm going to leave a link down below in the description for the duck hat. I'm going to have them on sale probably till the end of February 2025. So about another 6 days. So if you guys would like to pick one up, it really helps support this channel and I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's talk a little bit about the bait caster. Now, when it comes to a bait caster, if you've not used a bait caster in the past, I'm gonna start a little bit with you on how to set it up. So the first thing, there's really 3 main components that I think are important for you guys to understand with a bait caster, especially when you first get it out of the package. Now, I'm not gonna talk about how to put line on it in this particular video. I'll save that for a different video. But the 3 components that you really wanna look at are basically your drag system, your spool tensioner, and your brakes. Those are, to me, very, very important in order to set up properly. So when I get them out of the package, first and foremost, real easy, tighten up your drag. Most bait casters, I've used a number of different brands, Daiwas, Abu Garcias, Flugers. I feel like I've used almost every major brand out there, Quantums. They all come pretty much with a loose drag system. And I know that it's really easy to understand drag, but sometimes we just forget to do it. And so make sure that you tighten this up, because I know personally, I have had some fish lost before because I've not set up my drag. I get really excited to use that new bait caster. I do everything. I get it rigged up, get line on it and everything. And I think it's good because I've had no pressure on it. And the first fish that actually bites my bait, I set the hook, a bunch of line comes out, and I lose that fish. And as a matter of fact, for those anglers who have actually been around bait casters for a long time, this is something that I find extremely important to check when you're out there fishing, specifically if you are making longer runs at times in a boat, or even if you are, for example, bank fishing and you are kind of more or less hiking to an area. Maybe it takes you 30 minutes to get to a pond, whatever it may be. If you are either hiking for a while or you're running in a bass boat for a while, when you get up and you get ready to fish, check that drag system, because I've actually at times, there's a tournament, I'll never forget this one fish, because I personally thought it was a big one. Who knows if it actually was? You know how us fishermen are. But anyways, I was making a 50-minute, almost a 55-minute run on the James River down in Virginia in a Bassmaster Open. And I had been using a couple reels all week, no problems with them at all. But I didn't make that long of a run in one like period of time. Just jacked my rod. And anyways, when I got down to the spot that I was fishing, I thought everything was good. I started fishing. I was flipping and pitching. First fish bites that bait. I set the hook and a bunch of line comes out. And that fish, man, it like made a hard dig and just pops off. It never got a good hook in it. And so what had happened was, as I was running for a while, that drag system was kind of hitting on the carpet, and it was just bam, slowly loosening up, slowly loosening up. And after an hour, it had loosened up enough that it made a difference. So when it comes to the drag, I like to tighten that up. Personally, I actually control, like if a fish bites the bait, I actually control my like drag with my thumb. I'll hit the thumb bar and actually control it that way. But anyways, make sure your drag is in a proper place where you're not going to lose fish like I did. All right, let's move on to the next one. And the next thing that I want to talk about is actually your brakes that are on the side. Now there's a lot of different styles of brakes out there on the market. You will have brakes that are magnetic brakes. Typically magnetic brakes have a little dial on the side of them. You also have centrifugal brakes on the side, where those ones you actually pop off the side plate and you get into the side of the reel. So what I have found over the years is that no matter what brand or reel that you are using, I like to go at the 50% mark with my brakes. So some of them, like you will see, it goes from 0 to 20 on the side. I will take my brakes, I will put them dead in the middle, right at 10. Sometimes they go from 0 to 10, so I'll put it to 5. Sometimes they are centrifugal brakes, where you actually take the reel off the side, and you will actually see on the inside, they'll have these, basically these little pins that have these little plastic, I don't even know what they're called, that you push up and down. In that situation, you want to have basically half of them inwards and half of them outwards on that. That's a good place, right at 50%. And so I honestly don't mess with them a lot after that. Even when I've gotten really, really good with the baitcaster, I still set a lot of them right about 50%. You can loosen them up on certain days. For example, if I am casting with the wind at my back, I might loosen those brakes up a lot, because that bait is going to really go out there and I can make bomb casts with them. There are also days out there where I'm dealing with wind and I'm casting into the wind, and I actually will tighten them up a little bit. So, but right at about 50%, I think is a great place to live with your brakes on the side. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is setting up your spool tension knob. So when it comes to the spool tension knob, which is this guy right here on the side, the way that it works is as you basically tighten up your spool tension knob, there is a little rod in there that kind of compresses. This actually cap will kind of compress on the rod, and it will restrict the flow of this spool. I don't know what the word is exactly, but anyways, if I loosen this thing up, this is how you're going to set it. If I loosen this thing up all the way, or at least for the most part, you will notice that there is actually side to side play in your spool. You can hear it. Listen. You hear that? So my spool is actually moving side to side because there's nothing compressing on the spool right now. So a good place to live is right when that spool stops moving side to side. So a lot of times when I get a new reel out of the package and I'm setting it up, I do everything that I just talked about, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up my spool tensioner where it's moving side to side, and then I'm going to slowly tighten it up. And what I'm trying to do is right when that spool stops moving from side to side, that is the place that I'm trying to find, which is about right there. So right there, my spool is no longer, maybe it's just a little bit side to side. Right there is about where it's not moving side to side. That is a good place where a lot of anglers, as you get good, you can kind of just live right there. And you're good to go. Your reel is good to go. Now, if you are new to fishing a baitcaster, once you get it to that position, I want you to take your spool tensioner knob and go a complete half turn. Complete half turn. This is what I've seen with a number of different reels. So if I take this, I go a half turn, which I gotta kind of watch it. This reel is now in a spot where it actually, if I hit the button, it'll fall and it doesn't even backlash. And that was actually a little bit fast. So I might go just a tad bit more. But usually if it falls like that, it'll not backlash, or it barely does. That is a good place for a beginner angler to start. And so that is what I like to do. If I start getting better and better with the baitcaster, I'm going to slowly loosen that thing up. And so that is what I like to do. I will loosen it up until I kind of get to that point where I have just a teeny tiny bit of side to side play or none at all. And that's where you can kind of live with your baitcaster. So guys, that is how I set it up. Now, I didn't talk a lot about the actual casting motion in this video, and that's because I did a full-length video over on Bass Fishing HQ all about that. I also talk about in that video how to set up a baitcaster too. So if you guys want to learn just a little bit more about this, I'm going to leave a link for a video right here. Also, if you guys are looking for a baitcaster, a rod and reel, you can click on the ARC Rods link down below and you can get 10% off by using the coupon code BFHQ. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. See ya tomorrow.